Hello and welcome to another episode of the Construction Corner podcast. I'm Dillon. I'm your host. And today, guys, we are going to be talking about leadership development, and how in the world you become a great leader. You could do it a couple ways. One of which is like, don't bug me till the end of the project. The other side of it is, look, you have a question, come to me, right? And we'll figure it out and work through it. And then hopefully over time, or the only way that you stay here over time is that you solve more and more of your own problems, right? You come to me less and less frequently because now you know how to do the thing, whatever we're trying to teach, right? In engineering, it's, hey, you now know lighting design, or hey, you now know X, Y, and Z. Great, cool. So in that, you then have those different timelines and whatever it takes for somebody to understand what you're trying to do. Again, like, hey, I know now how to use Revit. I can do lighting layouts. I can do design. I can do all of this stuff, right? I know how to do my own layouts and everything else. Okay, great. Now we work through controls. Now you're going to have a whole ton of questions. We spend a lot of time together to teach you all these things for controls, on how to lay it out, how to use Revit for that stuff, how to place them, what that looks like, how to do any of your annotations for lighting and all those design pieces. And then you're good. And you just keep moving through. Because then it goes the other way if you do it on the other side of, hey, don't come to me until you have, like, your world's on fire. Well, now we got to fix a whole bunch of shit that we could have avoided all those problems had you, like, bugged me. And there's some fine line of that, right? Like, in the manager, you want the guy to figure out what it is that they're doing, and you want them to do that more on their own than coming to you. And that's where the nuance of management comes in. Because on one end, you have the fucking house burned down, and I didn't call the fire department. We just let it burn. That's like far end of, like, I couldn't solve it, and I just sat in my front yard and watched the house burn. Okay, problem. Or, hey, I don't know how to turn on the stove. Those are like the two far extremes of the thing, right? Or I don't know how to start a fire in the wood stove. Instead, I started a fire in the living room. It's like, dude, no, you put wood in the stove. Don't do it on the floor in your living room. Well, those are like two very big extremes, right? And so it's, hey, let's, you open the door to the wood stove. You put kindling in. Now we put small logs, right? We teach you how to build a fire. Here's a lighter. Light the shit in the stove, not the cardboard next to it. Those are the far extremes of leadership and everything else. Because on one end, you'd have a guy that's going to be all up in your grill. He's going to really just do it for you. And so you don't learn anything. So you want to be there with them and coach them through it so that they understand how to do the task at hand, right? Whatever you're trying to teach them. And then once they get better at it, and again, you typically have things that are very repetitive in tasks so that you can learn and you're going to do it again, and you just keep handing them projects of the same type and like same vein of thing, so they get very proficient at that, right? And then you can learn a new skill. Where most managers also screw up is they give 10 different project types of 10 different varieties of 10 different ways to do things, and now you're not proficient in any of them because you don't have enough volume and repetition on the one project type. So, like, for my guys, at first it was all like fire alarm projects, so we just started there. Like, hey, you're going to start here on fire alarm projects, and then you're going to become great at this. You're only going to do fire alarm, and this is all we do, and you're going to become great at it to where now I don't have to spend a ton of time hoping these guys through the projects. They can do them. I send them drawings, and now it's getting even to the point of, like, okay, copy paste this stuff. I'm still setting up file structures or whatever so that we've got it, put it in our shared drive, and off to the races they go, right? Here's the email, project is ready, go forth and design, right? And then we're getting even into where we're getting just blank slates, and it's like, okay, instead of me doing the preliminary layout, spots and dots, no, just go figure it out. And so, but that's a big progression. You don't send that to them on day one. It's like, hey, okay, here's how to use the tool, here's how to do it, and here's how to get through it, figure it out. And really, the more like either educated or the more software knowledge somebody has, the more you can say, just figure it out, go do it. And but for everybody less than that, you need to train them up to that given skill. And so even our guys now, like we're doing some apartment projects and things like that on some bigger apartments, and we're helping a contractor out just doing layouts so that they have drawings and locations of devices in each apartment. Okay, great. Well, now what we're going to do is, especially because it's big, we're going to divide this up by floors. I'm going to give it to one of my guys who's been with me for a while. Okay, here's a new thing. I know it'll take you a while. You're going to do one floor. Here's a video of me doing it. Do this, rinse, repeat, and let me know when you're done per floor, because we need to give it to clients on a per floor basis. Then I have a new engineer that we just hired who's been in the industry a while versus a fresh guy, knows a decent amount, been in the software for a while, but kind of new to the building industry a little bit, but's been around enough stuff to be able to pick things up way faster than a fresh new grad, basically. Okay, so I'm going to give you the fifth floor of this because that's a further timeline, right? You have more time to learn and figure it out, where I don't have to deliver, where I'm not giving you, if we start on the second floor, I'm not giving you the third floor. I'm giving you a couple weeks lead time so that I'm not putting you in a corner, right? Putting a gun to your head and like, you got to do this and learn it like today. It's, hey, you can go through this, we can figure it out, whatever. But it's going to be a good learning opportunity. Here's a half-hour video of me walking through it. Just rinse, repeat. Like, it's there for you. Go do it. Figure it out. Let me know if you have questions, kind of deal. And so when you build a team, it's a lot about knowing your people, knowing what they're capable of, not putting them under the gun of like, you have to do this and you've got to figure it out today. That doesn't set them up for success. They're not going to be with you long term. That way, you're not teaching them anything. They can't then feel like they can come to you with questions to be like, hey, how do I do this? Because if it's got to be done now, then people like freeze up. And they're not the owner. It's not their company. It's none of those pieces. So when we talk about leadership and training and helping people, it's all about how do you pass on the knowledge, do that in a way that's very small segments of what you know, because you know a big swath of stuff. So how do you break that down into a very easy segment for somebody to take, do, and it takes it off of your plate, right? Saves you time, gives it to them, and it's in such a way that, you get your time back. You're still getting paid for that effort, but you're getting your time back so that you can go and do higher leverage activities right on the spectrum. But you got them doing whatever, the grunt work of a project, and you figured this out. Let me go figure out how to design systems or talk to clients or go win more work or whatever else we're going to do down the line here, so that I can continue to feed you more and more. You can get paid more and more because now you have more skills, more talents, more whatever. I'm not paying you X, I'm paying you X plus or whatever we're going to agree upon for a given deal. And you move up in skills, you move up in authority, you move up in the company, and works for you, works for me, because we're still going to make money on the whole deal, right? Companies got overhead and expenses and everything else. And so that's the whole path of leadership, is how do you find people? How do you train people? How do you develop those people into being able to train other people, right? And how do you not only embody them with a technical skill, which is way easier than doing all the soft skills? How do you talk to somebody? How do you show up? And a lot of that, so the true sales training, which I have not done like a true sales training org, but how a lot of that happens is like, okay, here's the script, and then they go through it back and forth. And when you mess up a word, it's like, okay, that's not right. We're going to back up, and then you're going to do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. And then you memorize the script in whatever, a day, and going through that and doing it. But then you know how to talk through, a sales script, when to raise the pitch of your voice, when to lower the pitch of your voice. All of that can be trained, but it is intense and it's one-on-one. There's no other way to do it. You have to be one-on-one because you need immediate feedback to do a lot of that stuff. So you can train a person in it, but it's going to be one-on-one sales training, or like how to communicate. Give me a pitch to a client. How do you walk through a meeting? When do you interrupt somebody? When do you not interrupt somebody? When are you forceful? When are you calm? Like all those pieces you can train. It's just how much are you willing to put in the time basis to then train a person around whatever that is, right? And the soft skills, like there's no other way than one-on-one. Technical stuff, like YouTube is built technical because it's do this, move this here. Like you don't need that instant feedback of like how you as a person act and show up. Total different. Like technical skills are way easier for a lot of people because it's do this and it's either right or it's wrong. Personal and soft skills, there's so much in between. And then like, who are you as a person? Okay, you show up differently than me. Is that good? Is it bad? In a sales deal where you have like a true script for somebody, that is pretty much like, I know this script works, so you need to read this verbatim because it works. The pauses are where they need to be. The worded choice is correct. Like, do not deviate, right? All those things. And so in a very true sales organization, very different, right? You're training, this is what you say, this is how you show up, these are the things you do to ultimately win a sale. But in a leadership capacity of how do you give feedback? How do you show up to, like in our world of construction, how do you show up to meetings? How do you lead meetings? What are the things that you need to bring up in a meeting? What are the things you need to push back on? What are the things you do say? What are the things you don't say? We don't give lead times in meetings unless we have the actual lead times in front of us, because then people get a number in their head and it won't leave, or if anything, you over exaggerate it and then bring it back later. So like, for example, I had a meeting today. A guy was talking about lead times and he's like, years ago, they were long and crazy and during COVID and whatever. It's like, okay, that's fine. And then I'm like, well, today for the same big year, it is still 60 weeks, mainly because that's all for data centers and they're buying all of it. And it is 60-week lead times. And he's like, well, okay, didn't know. But I give the example of crazy stuff that is not going in the facility that we're talking about. It's a maintenance facility that's got a 10th the size of panel that we're doing in the data centers, right? I'm not doing 10,000 amp boards or 5,000 amps with a tie. I'm doing a 600 amp panel. So it's not even a 10th. Totally different scale, totally different timeline. But I'm going to say, hey, here is worst case. Yours will be better than that. But I'm not going to tell it to you until we've designed this thing out and we know actually what we're going to put in. We have a good idea, but I'm not going to commit to anything until we're done. Cool. But how do you explain that to the new guy? You got to go through a 5-minute story with him to say, because otherwise, if you said 12 weeks and it was actually 18 weeks or 24, that's another 90 days on the schedule that you just added or whatever for the project. Don't want to do that. So you got to give the stories around this for these guys so that they're able to adequately communicate to an owner, to the client, hey, this is what it's going to be. And until we actually know, we will let you know. When we know, you'll know. Leave it at that. But you only do that through stories, through telling, through repetition, through people coming and seeing these meetings, through them being at a lot of them, and then most of the time just shutting up and letting other people run the meeting, and you just got to learn what it is through the rest of, through just absorption, and then be aware enough to note all of these things, which is also hard. So most of the time the leader has to be like, what did you learn? Why was this meeting beneficial? What did you get out of it? Did you see how Dillon interacted with the client in doing this? Did you see how we didn't give a timeline for deliveries? Did you see that we need more information before we're going to give a decision on anything? Like, these are the hard to teach items that you can, they take time, they take dedication, and they take really pouring into somebody, which most of the time in a lot of like construction engineering companies, you don't have the time to actually pour into guys that, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to act. This is how we show up for clients. But the more you can do that for your guys and pour into them one-on-one, or make them listen to podcasts or anything else, or the internal training content, the more that they'll start to absorb these small little nuance pieces that allow them to not only grow, but they become a better leader. They communicate more effectively. And I mean, just think of it in like your home. Like, the more directly you're able to communicate with your spouse, pull information out of them, right? Or ask more questions about their day or a given thing that they're going through or whatever else, probably the better they're going to feel. It's just like dealing with your clients, right? The more that you're able to ask them about their day or their relationship with whatever, the utility company, their neighbors, again, in construction, right? Like, what's your relationship with these other guys? Was it good, bad? Do we need to be aware of it or concerned about it? The more opportunities that you're going to have to not only connect with them, get another project from them, or just have a better relationship when again, being in the design side, like when the project actually kicks off, the team is going to be able to have a much better, relationship through the entire construction process. So all that's super important when it comes to something as simple as leadership, and the big banner and umbrella of a term that like leadership is, or creating a team, or having guys to pass something off to. And that is this episode of the Construction Corner podcast. Until next time.